up, guys? My name is Tika Friedel and welcome to my channel. So as I mentioned in my last video, I am currently engaged to be married to the love of my life, and I have about 3 weeks before I say I do. So I wanted to share with you 5 lessons that I learned while being engaged. Number 1, communication. Think it's strange that communication is number 1 on the list? Not really, because anytime we're dealing with other people, communication is always key. It's always best to communicate what you need, how you need it, and when you need it, especially while being engaged. Being engaged, that relationship is so different than any other relationship that we have in our life. This is the person that we are going to become one flesh with. We're going to become one body, one unit. And we ought to operate that way. And so communication is always key. It is so important that we find our voice and that we're honest with our spouse. We're honest with the person that we're engaged with. And it is important that we properly convey our needs in the relationship to our spouse. Number 2, independence. Now, I've heard many people say that it is important to maintain your independence, that you should keep your own hobbies, keep your own friends, and even keep the schedule of activities that you participated in. And while I believe that that is true and that it's good to maintain your individual identity, independence in a relationship can weaken it. When we are not dependent upon our spouse, when we are not trusting, and when we strive to be self-sufficient, we strive not to need or to seek out the comfort or support that our spouse desires to give us. We don't want to get too close, and we don't let our walls or our guards down easily. And I get it. Dependency sometimes is characterized in a negative way, and it has a negative connotation. It can be characterized as being weak, as being helpless, as being clingy, but dependency in a healthy relationship is a good thing. The truth is, dependency requires vulnerability. It requires that we share our heart and our soul in order to create and cultivate intimate and profound bonds. I heard a famous quote that says, "Don't marry the person that you think you can live with. Marry the person that you think you can't live without." Number 3, disagreements and misunderstandings are inevitable. In fact, they're beneficial. While in the supervisory training for my job, there was things that we learned, keys to building a strong and solid team. And these keys I brought to my own relationship. When you have different people coming together in a group or in a relationship, there are 4 things that will happen. There is the forming, there is the storming, there is the norming, and then there is the coming together is the forming. And when we have different people coming from different backgrounds, sometimes what can arise is the storming. We're figuring out our strengths and our weaknesses, and the strengths and the weaknesses of those that we're working with, or the strengths and the weaknesses of our spouse. And after the storming is figured out, then we get to the phase of norming. We're now able to work together well. And once that is accomplished, the next phase is performing, where there is some sort of performance or productivity or product. Performing is when we're able to successfully accomplish our mission and the goals that we have set forth for ourselves. Number 4, outside involvement. I know there are going to be so many people that's going to try to give you and your spouse, your fiance, advice. They're going to try to tell you what you should do, what you shouldn't do, what's the best way to go about something, and how you should handle some things. But the one thing that I want to say is that you should always remember that what you feel and what your spouse feels matters most. Never put the opinions of anyone else above your opinion and their opinion. Always be open to wise counsel, but also be able to discern when someone is simply giving you their opinion. And last and certainly not least, the 5th lesson that I learned comes from the book by Gary Chapman called the 5 love languages. In this book, he talks about how he studied linguistics. And just as in the study of linguistics, there are different languages such as English, Spanish, Chinese, Japanese, French. Just as there are different languages amongst people, there are also different languages when it comes to love. There are 5 different ways that we communicate and that we receive love. There is spending quality time, there's acts of services, there's words of affirmation, there's physical touch, and there is receiving of gifts. Now, after reading the book, you may identify what your love language is, but the objective is to identify what is the love language of your spouse. That is how we grow, that is how we mature, and that is how we build with one another. Thank you so much for allowing me to share the 5 lessons that I learned while being engaged. Until next time, see you later.